Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As we're still in January, I thought it'd be a good time to start talking about my most anticipated reads of this year. I just want to be clear, it's my anticipated reads, not what other people may be anticipating. I've got a lot of sequels on my list this year. There's a lot of sequels. I've still got the tail end of being sick, so I apologise again if my voice is a little bit croaky or weird, or just I start randomly coughing because flu season has been upon us and I got it twice. I don't know. Anyway, so let's get started. January. First thing that I am highly looking forward to, and I have actually pre-ordered it on Waterstones, is 9 Goblins by T. Kingfisher. This is supposed to be a cozy fantasy novella about goblins, and it's coming out on the 20th of January. That's pre-ordered. That should hopefully be coming soon. The other good news that I personally found out, that Michelle Hurd, who is one of my favourite Matthew authors, I did talk about The Merciless Saints, it's up here. She is releasing a 5-book series this year. It's the follow-up to The Kings of Mafia. So there's an epilogue at the end of the 5th one. I want to say it's about Damiano. Anyway, there's an epilogue at the end of the 5th one from The Kings of Mafia. And it shows all the kids playing, and there's some conversations around, well, they're not going to end up together. And this is that generation carrying on. We've got the first of that coming in January, which is Forceful God. Now, the date attached to that is the 26th of the 1st. So that's the 26th of January. So was it? Some of these books have got preliminary dates in, but hopefully they're sticking to them, but you just don't know. The final book of January that I'm looking forward to is Within Range, which is the Ruth Stilling book. It is carrying on the Blade Kings. I think it's the 5th one in the series, and that's due to be released on the 29th. I think it's, yeah, the 5th of the series. If you haven't read Blade Kings, you don't know what you're missing. It's a good one, although I think there's a series before it. I want to say like Seattle Scorpions or something like that. There's a series before it which has the next generation above, and then this one's starts off with some of the kids, like they're the step kids of one of the guys from the first series. Starting off strong, on the 3rd of February, we've got the next of the Vancouver Storm coming from Stephanie Archer, which is The Wild Card. Now, this one is about the coach and the bar owner, and this has been teased all the way through the previous books. There's something there. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that progresses. Then we have got the Night Prince, which is the Waterstones edition, which will be matching the Wolf King over here. I am well aware that the Night Prince has already come out, but I am very excited about the Waterstones edition coming out because they are beautiful and I want it to match. I haven't read the Night King yet either. I actually pre-ordered it and it automatically downloaded to my Kindle. I haven't read it because I'm scared to, but I need to get over it and read it at some point. I devoured the Wolf King in the same day and I absolutely loved it. Although I didn't quite like all the comparison to Outlander because I'm not really an Outlander fan. I find Outlander has the female main character as one of those that causes all of our own problems, and I get very, very frustrated with it. The next book then that's coming out is The Throne of Nightmares by Kerry Maniscalco. That is the 3rd book in the Prince of Sin series, and it's about Prince Sloth. That's coming out on the 10th of February, so I'm very much looking forward to that one if you like the brothers. The next book then in February still is A Dark Forgetting by Christine Ciccarelli. This is another Waterstones pre-order. The synopsis is that it's a fantasy romance. A grandfather goes missing and the female main character's got to return to find out what the mystery and what's happened to him. That's out on the 12th of February. I do enjoy Christine Ciccarelli's writing, so I'm hedging my bet that this one's going to be a decent one to read. It's another one that I've pre-ordered on Waterstones as well. Then comes The Dawn of the North, which is the 3rd instalment of The Road of Bones from Demi Winters. That's coming out on the 19th of February. If you haven't read The Road of Bones, they're fantastic books. And finally for February, even though I don't have an actual concrete date for it, the next book in the Serial Killer book club is coming out. So that's Sirens and Stilettos by D.L. Darby. I don't know when that's coming out. If you like books that are similar to The Butcher and the Blackbird, where like the female main character is like a crazy psychopath, you'll enjoy them. They're very sassy and they're just fun. Moving into March. The 3rd of March sees the continuation of The Shattered King. Now that's one I literally have just read in the last couple of weeks. And The Half-Hearted Queen is the next book in that series, which is coming out in March. And I'm very much looking forward to that. The Shattered King, I was just enthralled reading it. It was like hardly any smut in it. She's a healer that's brought in, conscripted, to look after the prince or try and heal the prince that several people have tried to heal in the past but haven't, and she's got this different approach to it. It's a really, really fascinating book. It's one that's quite slow moving, but not so much that you get bored. I didn't get bored in it anyway. There's 2 books coming on the 19th of March, and they are both hockey books that I'm looking forward to. So we've got Over the Line by Hayley Roger, which is the next book in the Colorado Storm books. It's number 4, I think. We've got Show Me Forever by Jennifer Sukovic, and that's the next one in the Chicago Railers book series as well. 26th of March is the next T. Kingfisher pre-order, which is Wolfworm. Sounds amazing. It's another one of her thriller gothic ones, which I thoroughly enjoy. I love T. Kingfisher anyway. And then finally we've got Game On, the Nevessa Allen book, which is the next one in the Into Darkness book. So it follows on from Lights Out and Caught Up, these ones down here. And this one follows Tyler, who's Josh's roommate from the first book. April, we've only got 4 books coming in April that I'm looking forward to. We've got Rise of the Starling by Devney Perry. That's coming on the 7th of April. That is the sequel to Shield of Sparrows. Frozen Heart by Neva Altaj. That's the number 12 in the Perfectly Imperfect series. That's coming on the 30th of April. And then we also have The Wrong Catch by C.R. Jane. C.R. Jane is the one that wrote The Fucking Wrong Number. C.R. Jane's got quite a few coming out this year. She's got a baseball, a mafia and a cowboy romance all coming out this year. But they don't have dates to them. So that's going to be quite interesting. So there are going to be some quite interesting books. If you enjoy the writing of C.R. Jane, the very unhinged male characters that are just hilariously funny, you will enjoy This Is the Wrong Player series, and you'll enjoy the other books, I am sure. So I'll be looking out for those when they come out. In May, we have got 2 Michelle Hurd books coming. Again, they're the Kings of Mafia, Next Generation. One's coming out on the 4th of May, and the other one's coming out on the 28th of May. And that's Possessive Enemy and Vicious Devil. So again, that's that continuation of the Kings of Mafia. Then I have a Waterstones pre-order for Fury Bound, which is the Diabound sequel from Sable Sorensen. That's coming out, she says, quickly checking notes. That's coming out on the 5th of May. We've got Broken Dove, the follow-up to Silver Elite by Danny Francis. There is another Leah Brunner book coming, which is a hockey book, which is The Hockey Boys of Loft 3B. That's the second book coming. It says the 14th of May, but I feel like that was a loose date attached to it. So hopefully that will come out, because I love those books. Those are very fun books. And there is also talk there was talk and chatter last year that the next Dungeon Crawl installment, so that would be what, 8? Book 8 is coming in May next year, but that's there. I can't find any definite dates anywhere for that publication. Coming in June, we've got Light Wielder by Rachel Snyder. That is the follow-up to Metal Slinger. That's on a pre-order, and that is coming on the 11th of June. Another book out on the 11th of June is Bonded Souls Book 1 by S.J. Tilley. This is a new series for her, and I think it's more paranormal romance. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that one is, because she tends to dabble more in the contemporary romance. We've had Alliance, which are these ones up here, which is like the mafia side of it. You've got like the Mountain Daddy side of it, which is like these age gap romances. We've had some of the Sleet series, which is your hockey. And we also had the ones that are in the town. What are they? They're something smoke. Something smoke. So it'll be interesting to see if she goes paranormal romance. Most of these are contemporary, but with that added extra. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that one goes. We then have another Chicago Railers book by Jennifer Sukovic, which is going to be Promise Me This. We've got Saved by God by Michelle Hurd, the next one in the Kings of Mafia book, out on the 29th of June. And then there is also Pestilence, which is book number 8 in the Interstellar Union series by Etta Pierce. There's no firm date attached to that. It just says June on her Instagram. I'm very excited. I love those books. That one's another sci-fi romance, but they are very good. I think they're the ones that are marketed as, if you like Mass Effect, you'll like these. I like the overarching conspiracy that's happening, and I just want to know what happens. So I'm always very excited. Etta Pierce, I enjoy her writing style very much so. I find it very easy to read. I get invested in the characters. The diversity's fun in it. I genuinely just love it. I love it all. As we saw from my end of year bracket, one of her books actually made it all the way through to the end for the showdown. So it says it all. July. I've only got 2 books coming in July. So we've got Ace and Ember, which is by Kate Crew. Now, this is the second book in the Mavericks. I have been waiting for this book. If you've read Rook and Rebel, it follows on from that. It's very, I don't know, it carries on with the motorbiker, almost, it's kind of soft, dark romance. I enjoyed them anyway. I've been looking for this book to come out because I was really intrigued by the characters, because both of these characters are in Rook and Rebel, and I was very intrigued to see what happened with them. And it seems to have taken forever for this book to come out. So I'm more than excited to see that it's finally coming out in July. There was also Heathermore coming out by Shannon Mayer. Again, this is another book that I didn't think I was going to like. This is the sequel to Neverthorn, which is right here next to The Wolf King. I genuinely loved Neverthorn. I didn't think I would. I would... Pretty much anything that's based in some sort of school or college is classed as dark academia. And it's very difficult for me to not go, oh, so Harry Potter. We're going Harry Potter. And I just loved Neverthorn. I genuinely didn't think I was going to. I think I've seen a lot of people that weren't keen on it, but I tried to just drop the negativity, and I tried to go in with open eyes, and I really, really loved it. Had a great time reading it, and I've been waiting for the next one to come out. And that's coming in July. Heathermore. That's coming on the 23rd of July. August. We have got Whisper of a Shadow by Monty J. This is the next one in the River Styx Heathens series, which is coming out on the 5th of August. These, again, are the next generation from the Hollow Boys. If you've read The Hollow Boys by Monty J, these are the kids. There's one before it. And I really loved The Hollow Boys. And I'm always, you know this, I've said this, I get a bit ick about reading characters that are a lot younger. When I was reading The Hollow Boys, it made me think of The Covenant. Have you watched the film The Covenant? It's not good, but I love it. And it made me very intensely think of that film when I was reading The Hollow Boys. And I think that helps. It's got Sebastian Stan in, does The Covenant. Then we have Daggerbound. So that's the T. Kingfisher sequel to Sword Heart, which I have been waiting for. I don't know about you guys, but everybody that's read Sword Heart loves it. And in Sword Heart, they talk about other weapons that have people bound to them. And then we never heard of anything again. We never heard any more books. She went on and did more Paladin's Grace. Any of us that love Sword Heart have been driven slowly insane. So the fact that Daggerbound is coming is very exciting. So that's supposed to be due on the 25th of August. Then there's another book from Leah Brunner in the Hockey Boys of Loft 3B. That's also coming at the end of August. And we have another Chicago Railers book by Jennifer Sukovic, which is Keep Me Close. And that's also coming at the end of August. September, only one book coming, which is The Dark Lord's Guide to Honeymooning by Tiffany Hunt. This is the sequel to The Dark Lord's Guide to Dating. I loved that book so much. So I am very much looking forward to this one about honeymooning. Great fun. The release date for that is the 8th of September. Moving into October, we've got The Wretched Divine by Adeline Grace. She wrote all of Belladonna, which I have behind me. these three colourful ones behind me. This is her first foray into an adult film. This is her adult debut. So similar to Stephanie Garber over here, who did Alchemy of Secrets, we're now going to get an adult debut from Adeline Grace. I'm interested to see what happens. I feel like I'm the minority, because I didn't really like Alchemy of Secrets. So, but there's also a lot of detractors from the Belladonna series. So it'll be interesting to see how this next one goes. The blurb hints around a war between angels and demons and a human knight that's determined to end it at any cost. I'm interested to read it. I don't necessarily know how good it's going to be. Then on October the 3rd, we've got the next in the Villains series by V.E. Schwab, which is Victorious. We've got Give Me Tonight, which is another Chicago Railers book by Jennifer Sukovic, and that's coming on the 22nd of October. And there's also supposed to be the next or the third book in the trilogy from the Serial Killer Book Club by D.L. Darby coming in October. There's no name or date attached to it. That's just from the Instagram. November, we're supposed to see the third Fayum Alchemy book by Callie Hart. So that follows on from Quicksilver and Brimstone. That's supposed to be out on the 10th of November. There's also 2 Chelsea Curto books coming in November in the DC Stars series. So that's another hockey book series. That doesn't say when, but they're supposed to be coming. And it doesn't say what they are or any blurbs yet because it's in November. And we also have Otherworld by L.L. Starling supposedly coming in November. Again, this is another one that I've been waiting for. Her first book, Between, loved so much. Between felt so fairy story-like, but insane. And Otherworlds is the sequel to that. And does anybody else read a book? You get to the end and you clearly know it's the start of a series or a duology, a trilogy, what have you. And you think, yes, there's another one to read. And then you look and you go, oh, there's not another one to read. And then you scour the author's social media and website to try and find a tiny nugget of information about when this book's coming out. This is how I felt about Otherworld coming out after Between. I just wanted to know when it was coming out, and it was the same with Ace and Ember after Rook and Rebel. I just wanted to know when the next book was coming out. So as you can tell, I'm pretty excited. And then coming to December, we've got the Evermore trilogy. So we've got the next one in the Evermore trilogy, which is by Julie Soto. That's the follow-on from Rose in Chains. Another one that I was like, please tell me there's a book coming next year. It is. We just have to wait till December. As I've said before, haven't read any of the Hermione fanfics whatsoever. I bought that not realising. I've heard quite a few people say that that is the better one out of the 3. I really loved it. Again, really loved it. And I wanted to know what happened next. So the fact that this next book is coming out, it's not even got a title yet, but it's due hopefully in December. I'm not holding my breath though, because I bet that's going to get moved probably until 2027. And then we also have book number 9 in the Interstellar Union series coming, which is Radiance by Etta Pierce. So she's giving us 2 books in that series, and I am so excited. There's also one of the Over the Moon series supposed to be coming, which is Bite My Apogee, but I think that's getting released on Patreon first. And I really want to read that one, because that one's like the matriarch of the human settlement and the guy that's been in charge of getting them settled from the alien side. And I kind of wanted to read that one this year as well, so I'm hoping I see that at some point. The other book that I am looking forward to this year that doesn't have a release date attached to it is the follow-up to Illusion of Stars, which is by Sarah Marie Page, and that's Anchor of Light. Illusion of Stars, it's another one that I just loved. It's a fantasy romance, and I got a bit fed up of fantasy romance in 2024. So I branched out and I read a lot of reverse harem. Don't even talk to me about Bears in Mind, because the Ursa Shifters books are amazing, and I fully went in thinking this was going to be a parody of everything that I believed in, but I loved them. And that's also why I think I went quite heavily into mafia and sports romance last year. And I've come back slowly towards the end of last year to fantasy romance, and I've genuinely been enjoying it again. And Illusion of Stars was one of those. I'm going to be keeping an eye on the author's social media to see when that's coming out, because that's another very exciting release this year. I'm sure there's probably more. I'm sure there's some that I've forgotten about. There's a lot of sequels coming next year, but I think that's inevitable since there were so many books last year especially, and the year before, that just exploded. We had some big sequels last year like Onyx Storm, which then further pushed this genre into into the spotlight, for better or worse. I think it's for the better. We're seeing a lot more brick and mortar stores being opened. You're seeing a lot more conversations around books. The only problem is there's a lot more criticism levelled at the romance genre and women for just reading it, which I find really disappointing, because I'm sorry, I've got Game of Thrones up there, and if that was written by a woman, it would be called smutty books, but because it's written by a man, it's called epic fantasy, and it makes me extremely angry. Now I've finished my rant, because I had to, because I started having a coughing fit. You guys let me know what books you're looking forward to this year, and I may add them to my TBR, which is forever growing, and I'll speak to you next week. Bye!